Right, lad.
Yeah,
No? Who cares?
do it. Hang on, just trying to find Mum.
Experience in sailing to the West Indies and your abilities as a navigator, Lieutenant Bligh, you are confirmed as captain for the forthcoming voyage.
Thank you, Sir Joseph.
The ship, the Bethia, will be renamed HMS Bounty.
Previous voyages together to the West Indies.
Mr. Christian, it is my pleasure to be able to take this opportunity to renew our good friendship. I am sure in your role as master's mate on the Bounty, you will again prove to be both a loyal friend and a seaman of high ability.
Captain Bligh, as my teacher these many years, you know I'm a willing pupil. I regard you as the greatest living navigator in the British Navy. I'm exceedingly proud to be considered both your friend and student.
Now, he was a good seaman, none of us could doubt. He made a lot of talk about how he'd chosen us to be part of his crew, and how he needed us to be fit and healthy. But he had a temper, and he'd make threats, terrible threats. If in all the world I was asked, where is paradise? I would answer, here. Here in Tahiti. Not only is the island beautiful, but the people are so welcoming, so friendly, and so eager to have us amongst them. Captain Bligh especially seems to be enjoying himself. At last.
With me, Fletcher Christian, on board the Bounty, were those who remained loyal to me. And some, like Peter Hayward, who supported William Bligh, but who could not fit into his launch. Thomas Davis and Least when we returned to take Isaac Martin, Richard Skinner, and Matthew Thompson. We returned eventually to Tahiti, but our welcome was less warm than we might have hoped, and we were at risk of being caught by a British ship and taken back to England. Eventually, late in 1789, the remnant of our party arrived on Pitcairn Island, and some 70 years later, our descendants arrived here on Norfolk Island. Their names remain here still. They stand as a reminder of the brutality of a sea captain and the visions of those who rebelled against him in the hope of finding a better life over 200 years ago.
Finally, the sun's out.
With the sunlight parted into darkness, I need someone to
This is June the 11th, Norfolk Island. It's just about now.
Prices that year were £2.
Grant land
So they're all given a piece of 10 acres and 100 acres of land. So I can't remember.
Like 50? 50 acres each.
Oh my god, it's hard.
They did have it kind of laid on for them, didn't
The
they?
8th of
Really?
June, which we just
I mean, considering what they came from, they were given a whole new island. Given,
Okay, so
yeah, you can't.
consider
It's actually quite like
driftwood.
quite cool.
Orange.
I think they're quite cute.
Bit hard to tell what the time is when there's no sun.
1.7, so is that 27 mils?
Inches, honey.
Oh, inches?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's got inches on the bottom. Nearly 3 inches of rain that we've had since we've been here. Okay.
How big the shape of paradise.
Presley bus in it. That was the one from last night, with Elvis Presley crew in it. That was the one from last night with Elvis Presley.
Dean Vegas was in.
Yeah.
It's all how rest around the other tree. Ta-da! Oh.
Just little roots. Looking for Barney Duffy. Oh, there he is.
There you go. Ready?
Duffy, no.
Big.
Got
Oh,
him right on his
nose.
I suppose that's all your size you get here.
Oh.
Hey? Rosa, have a look at this familiar fella. Just a little, just a little one.
Special, huh?
Yeah.
What do you mean familiar?
What's that?
There's no fish that big in New Zealand.
Oh, we did have it once. I think it came over here.
What, 1721?
We just catch them and throw them back, eh? big fish. Yeah.
Let us go and watch the good ship, the Governor Philip, being unloaded of our most recent human cargo. The poor devils don't know what's in store for them. There are 120 arriving now. Hear their voices.
I can't move. Me leg irons are too heavy. Me legs are too stiff. What is this thing? Where have the bastards brought us? Told them we're convicted with me, we'll never see the light of
The
day.
boat shed. This is always locked and guarded at night to prevent convicts taking a boat and trying to make their escape out to sea. Oh, many a winter's night it was cold and miserable. The guards hated this lonely watch. Over here, the Royal Engineer's office. This is the workplace of the clerks responsible for planning the construction of the buildings that you see around you.
We need able-bodied men from England to build this settlement. We will also need skilled stonemasons who are cutting the stone into blocks. Thousands of yards of stone will have to be quarried. The convicts will be employed every day at Point Hunter until this has been achieved.
My name is William Riley. Well, life has become easier for me now, but I'm still a convict of the Crown. Oh, I have suffered like Dennis Doherty, but thank God, not as long as he has. Mind you, I once had 50 lashes across me back for the crime of insolence. And I have spent 5 years and 2 months in leg irons. But they have tamed me at last. And as I stand before you now, I have as good a position as any prisoner could hope for while still being here on Norfolk Island. I am proud to tell you that I am now the overseer in the engineer's office. They have recognized my worth at last, and I won't let that go easy.
Another of the buildings of the second settlement was the new jail over to the right, completed under Childs' command. The work of building this jail was already behind when Childs arrived to take over command. Although the prison settlement would be shut down forever in just 14 years from now, Childs set to work to have this pentagonal institution completed. There were to be underground cells for the worst offenders. We dreaded the solitary darkness of these cells even more than the lash. This was about the only major building task that Childs worked on.
Why can't we have more meat? All the best meat goes to the hospital, and it's too late to help men there anyway. There's dysentery from eating this foul and tough salt beef. Always the salt beef. Men in the first settlement who escaped at night ran through to the mountain to catch birds. They were the only ones who got a change from this wretched salt beef.
I was so exhausted the next day it hardly seemed worth the trouble. Which is best? No sleep or no food?
It's not just the salt beef that gives us this dysentery. It's 1,100 prisoners sleeping in close quarters, and the disease spreads like wildfire. Yes, but those of us who've been here the longest have more resistance. It's the new hands just out from England who are dying like flies. It's a good thing that we helped ourselves to their precious belongings when they arrived. Yeah, and there are always plenty more on the next ship to take their place.
When the next boat comes from Sydney with the stores, I'll be part of the crew to unload it. I'll risk the cat for the sake of a chance to get away from this hellhole. It's the flogging triangle. and the sickly and gag that makes a man froth and gurgle blood, which makes this place the ocean hell.
Look, here comes Commander Childs towards us now. Keep very quiet. He may not notice us.
Have stone quarried from Point Hunter for this building.
Aye, aye, sir.
And good blocks will have to be cut at Nepean Island for the masonry at the entrance. Have those convicts that go by boat to the island ironed up, so that there is no chance of them trying to escape. Now that we have 1,700 convicts under our parole, there is even more risk of revolt. That man, Kavanagh, and his followers must be watched particularly.
I heard that. That puffed up Irishman will learn a thing or two about us Australian outlaws.
We slept here 1,100 of us, over in that jail on hammocks slung in double tiers. Oh, the unbelievable squalor of it. So many men always in irons. Night and day, those cursed irons. They were manacled so long, their legs always had ulcers. Just look at this. This was called the Spread Eagle. We all knew that it was illegal. But the villains hung a man this way for up to 5 hours at a time, when they thought that the agony would make us mend our ways. No one ever received less than 50 lashes. And I have seen men given 300 strokes of the lash before breakfast. The scourger would beat at a man's back till we could see the bone. The surgeon shouldn't have allowed that to happen. But even some of them were sadists too.
90, 91, 92.
The sound of the cat on naked flesh is like a cartwhip.
95.
It cuts through your ears and through your very soul.
99, 100.
The blood of the dead is calling out for vengeance.
There was a final release from the prison of Norfolk Island.
Lord God on high, we plead to you on your throne of mercy that you extend to this your faithful servant remission and divine grace. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread.
Oh, how I love to look at the beautiful ladies who lived on Military Row.
It was strange here for the women on Norfolk Island. We couldn't help but feel sorry for these convicts at times, even though they had committed such offenses against society. Certainly, their voices and bearing were crude and uncouth, but it gave the wives of the officers a most uncomfortable feeling, as their eyes followed us when we walked or rode throughout the settlement. There are young brash men here, as well as older ones, who are missing the female companionship and comfort that they were used to back in the home country.
Come quickly, Mama. There is a ship arriving from Sydney town. Will it have the silk for my new dress?
There will be a letter from your dear grandmama, my child.
Most of the convict overseers were hated by the men, for they were often more cruel and sadistic than the soldiers. Many times the convict overseers would be attacked by their group, and sometimes they were even murdered. Legend has it that such a thing happened right here at Bloody Bridge. Listen. I hear Commandant Price.
Our new road past the cemetery will be the best way for us to get to the landing at Bald Bay. The route is satisfactory on foot, but when we need to cart supplies in winter, we shall never be able to ford this stream in the deep gully. Over here, work is to commence forthwith on the building of a wide and strong bridge across that gully. Take 12 convicts in irons, and ones who can still wield a pick and shovel and collect the best stone from Point Hunter. Work them hard so that the bridge is ready for use before the April rains.
Yes, sir.
And so the work begins. Now the ground around the bridge is unstable, which presents the men with many problems keeping a foothold as they're chained together in pairs to prevent their escape. Nevertheless, they have to work on this new building project from daylight till dusk, with no breakfast and only a break at noon for a meager lunch of corned meat and maize.
Speed it up there, you laggards! Come on! Lift that stone higher and fit it in with the other. You can reach! Reach! All those stones up! You cursed fools! This bridge should be almost finished by now! Move your idle bones, men, or I'll encourage you further with my whip!
I'm working as hard as I can, Dad. If the Major would give us some decent food to fill our bellies, we'd do better.
That's not my problem. I want this wall finished today, else I'll have some of your names on report.
If you weren't so keen on sending the men off to the Scourger or the Solitary, we'd have more men to get on with the job.
That's enough of your lip. You'll do as I say and you'll do it now!
This is hard work. The gangs up at Norwich have been given light duties this last 3 days because of the heat.
Oh, strike me, would you? You black-hearted villain. It was only 3 months ago you were doing the same work as me.
What's that?
Oh, I'm on stomach orders from a dog like you.
You get back.
Take that!
A gunshot always means that one of the overseers is calling for reinforcements. But reinforcements come too late for this man. The convicts then set to with feverish energy to break the battered body into the bridge work. When they returned to the settlement, they told a story that the overseer had left them and gone for a walk along the cliffs and hadn't come back. Some soldiers were sent to investigate, and although they found the bridge work complete, when they looked more closely, they saw, coming from beneath the bricks where the mortar had not yet set, an unmistakable trickle of human blood. The legend of Bloody Bridge. The assailants in this ghastly crime were tried before Judge Fielding Brown the very next morning. It was quite evident what their fate would be.
As His Majesty's Magistrate of the colony of Norfolk Island, I find all 12 of you guilty of willful murder. At 3 o'clock this afternoon, you are to be executed at the gallows. There will be no appeal.
The condemned convicts were forced to dig their own mass grave. Thank God it was never as bad as that again. Price was finally removed and the penal settlement closed. Well, let me now return you to the present. Thank you for sharing this time with me tonight. I pray to God in heaven that we will never see the likes again of what you've just witnessed. You are the lucky ones. Let us hope that man will learn and treat his fellow beings with greater compassion.